Hello, welcome to CHIMASAFARMS. This is the table with ECCT. The table with ECCT, that's where we discuss different topics of the farm so that we may have deeper understandings of the things we do even as we go to the farm as farmers. So today we are going to discuss, or we are going to have an understanding when it comes to fertilizer. What is fertilizer? How does fertilizer work? What are the things contained in fertilizers that will help our plants? So that even before you start farming, so that even before you start, as you are doing your preparation in terms of you want to do farming, you are doing your preparation and everything, you need to understand and know the kind of fertilizer you are going to use, the kind of nutrients that are supposed to be in your fertilizer before you can even start your actual farming. This is the table, ladies and gentlemen. Let's dive into it.
CHIMASAFARMS Life to you. Ooh, farm life. The farmer's life, the best fertilizer.
Alright. Okay. So first and foremost, the first important thing I would like you to note down or to write down is that there are some important nutrients that the plant requires in order for it to grow. There are some important nutrients the plant requires in order for it to grow properly. So what are some of these nutrients? These nutrients, from my understanding, they are in two types. There's what we call macronutrients and micronutrients. Macronutrients and micronutrients. These are the basics of farming. What I'm telling you right now are the basics of farming. When you understand this, it's going to be very much easier for you to handle your farming venture in regards to fertilizer, application, because whatever fertilizer you're going to use, be it granular fertilizers or foliar fertilizers, they involve these things. The only thing that makes them different is perhaps the way of application. The other ones you apply to the roots, and the other ones you apply to the leaves. You see that's the only difference. But the elements and the nutrients in them, the content, are just the same. For the examples of these macronutrients are nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. These are three examples I can give when it comes to macronutrients. These are nutrients that are required in large quantities. These are nutrients that are required in large quantity. So as we progress, I'll just give you a bit, maybe uses or importance of these nutrients just in summary, but I will get back to them so that I can explain properly now, so that you understand and know to say, when my plants are lacking this, what I'm supposed to apply is this. When my plants are lacking this, what I'm supposed to apply is this. So when we talk of nitrogen, which is a macro nutrient, and it is required in large quantities, important for amino acids and protein synthesis. Phosphorus also helps in cell membrane formation. And the last three, under the macronutrient, it is potassium. Potassium helps in carbohydrate synthesis, and it also helps to fight infections. Like there are some different plant infections. So when you see that the field or perhaps a plant, it is vulnerable to infections, it is vulnerable to every insect, just know that it is lacking what? It is lacking potassium, which helps in that. There are also other important nutrients which are also major in nutrients, though I'm not going to focus on them, but they're also important. They're also important in the formation and the growth of every plant, and this includes calcium, magnesium, boron. These are just some of the examples of nutrients every plant requires for them to give you and produce fruits that you require as a farmer. So, having talked about the macronutrients, let's also make mention of the micronutrients. So, micronutrients, these are required in small quantities. The best examples I can give are iron, copper, manganese, boron. In fact, boron I mentioned to macro nutrients, but it's not part of that. Boron, it is part of the micronutrients, which are required in low quantities. As I'm mentioning these things, if you're a farmer and you know you're watching this video, if you're watching this video, take note of what I'm telling you. Take note of whatever I'm, like sharing with you, because these are important and you need to go back to them in order for you to know what is lacking in your plants. When you observe your plant, you're going to say, it's okay, I think this and this is lacking in my plant. So what am I going to do? Perhaps it has no, it doesn't develop fully. Perhaps the plant is looking malnourished. You're going to understand and know, okay, what is lacking in my plant is this. And you go to the market, get that kind of fertilizer, apply it to the plant, and you see change. Perhaps within a week, 2 weeks, you see an instant change. So please take note of this. Even as I continue talking, I would just like you to remember to subscribe to this channel. If you know you are interested in farming, if you know this is what you aspire for, subscribe to this channel. Follow me on all social media platforms. That is on FARMLIFE ECCT. FARMLIFE ECCT. Follow me on all social media platforms, be it Facebook, be it TikTok, be it YouTube. FARMLIFE ECCT. FARMLIFE ECCT. The farmer's eye is the best fertilizer. Chimasa Farms Life to you. I'm sure by now you've come to understand the types of fertilizers. The types of fertilizers and the nutrients that are required to be in fertilizer for you to make use of it. Let's now jump and let's talk about now classes of fertilizers. So classes of fertilizers, it involves fertilizers in 2 classes. That is what we call, there's what we call straight fertilizers and there's what we call mixed fertilizers. Straight fertilizers and mixed fertilizers. So the straight fertilizers are those fertilizers that only consist with one element in them. They only consist with one nutrient in them. And the best example of a straight fertilizer is what we call urea. And urea only provides the plant with what? With nitrogen. It only provides the plant with only one element, which is nitrogen. So that is what we call a straight fertilizer. Now talking of a mixed fertilizer. Mixed fertilizer is a fertilizer which is mixed, and from the name itself you can even tell to say this is not only one element but it contains 2 or more nutrients in them. And the best example of a mixed fertilizer is what we call an NPK. NPK fertilizers. These are decompound fertilizer. You see, those are what we call NPK fertilizers, which is the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. These are the elements involved in the mixed fertilizers. So this is where now a challenge is, and this is where most farmers, we find it difficult for us to navigate, for us to understand what is this thing they are calling NPK, and how can I make use of it? How can I utilize this in order for me to have a proper yield, in order for me to have a yield which I require? So having a proper understanding of these things I'm talking about, or these things I'm mentioning as a farmer, it is the beginning of your rest. It is the beginning of you forgetting certain complaints, forgetting certain things. No, this is not working, this is not working. Having done your soil tests, because sometimes if you know to say, okay, in fact not even sometimes, it is just a cardinal thing to do. It is an important thing to do soil testing. You have to do soil testing so that you understand the pH of your soil, you understand the nutrients that is in your soil and what is lacking. You see, when maybe the pH of your soil is too high, you need lime to apply so that you may do what? Reduce it, so that even as you plant your crops, even as you plant your different crops, they will germinate and bear you fruits, give you that which you want. You see, that is the most important thing. So I want you to understand this part of the NPK part. Take your pens, as I've mentioned earlier, write this down. NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, and what? Potassium. These are macronutrients that are required in large quantities for the plants to survive, for the plants to thrive and give you that which you want. So what is the use of nitrogen? We start with nitrogen. So what is the use of nitrogen in plants? Nitrogen stimulates vegetative growth, and on top of that, it also helps in what? Leaf development. So when you plant your crop, or you notice that your crops they are, they are not growing vegetatively. Have you seen that? And again, in terms of the reefs maybe they are small, they are not as you'd like them to be. Just understand and know to say these plants are lacking nitrogen. If you haven't perhaps even done soil test, that simply means your soil doesn't contain the element of nitrogen. And what you do is what? You supplement, you give them the nitrogen so that they can gain that vegetative part of the plant. After they gain that, also the leaves, they blossom and they grow big. You're going to understand to say, okay, this is the other part. So when you talk of nitrogen, in other words, I would just say it encourages the overall growth of the plant. Nitrogen encourages the overall growth of the plant. In other words, I would also put it this way: nitrogen as what we call, I would say, it has a greening effect on plants. When nitrogen is applied, it makes the plants to be green. It has a greening effect on plants. And this is because nitrogen comes with what we call chlorophyll. And chlorophyll encourages the growth or making the plants green. Have you seen that? So if the plants, perhaps the leaves of the plants, they look malnourished, they look yellow, just know that this plant is missing the greening effect. This plant is missing what we call nitrogen, so that it can produce the greening effect, so that your plant can blossom, your plant can grow healthy. That's why I'm saying nitrogen encourages the overall growth of the plant. The second element I want to talk about is what we call NPK, which is the phosphorus, which is the middle part, NPK. The phosphorus encourages or deals with root development. It encourages the plant to develop roots. That's why on most decompound fertilizers here in Zambia, decompound fertilizers, when you follow the NPK chart, you find that the phosphorus, which is at the center or at the mid of the figures, it is the one which is higher, because the phosphorus or the NPK fertilizer is applied to small plants as they just germinate. Perhaps they have got 1 or 2 leaves. You're going to apply what you call NPK fertilizer, and it has a higher proportion, it has a higher amount of what phosphorus in them, for this sole purpose of what? Root development. For the purpose of root development, because when the plants are still small, what they need first is to develop roots. Even before they start growing, they're going to germinate. Once they germinate, they develop roots. Once they develop roots, those roots will go deep into the soil to start now gathering what? The nutrients from the soil. Even as the plants becomes firm, even as the plants start to what? Start to grow. So phosphorus helps in what? Root development. So phosphorus is actually one of the most important elements or nutrients you're supposed to have in the soil for your plant to grow. Have you seen? So the lack of phosphorus, you discover that when a plant lacks phosphorus, it's going to look dark green and it will look like it has life. Yes, it has life because it is getting what? The nitrogen nutrient, which is making it green, but it can't grow. It can't grow at a pace which you want it to grow at. Have you seen? Because it has not developed the root. You need these nutrients to be in the plant in order for it to give it that power to penetrate the soil, the roots to grow, so that they can start picking up what? Other nutrients from the soil for it to start growing. Have you seen? So when you see the plant which is looking green and sometimes it looks purple, have you seen? So you discover that it's not growing. That simply tells you there's no phosphorus in the soil. When you apply the NPK and the plants begin to absorb that phosphorus from the fertilizer, you discover that it starts growing. So this is the fertilizer you apply at an early stage of every plant so that it can get all these nutrients together and grow. It will get the nitrogen, it will get the phosphorus. As it is doing that, it is developing the roots at the same time. It is having that greening effect in it and it is growing. Have you seen? This is what you need if you want your plants to grow fast. And that's why you need to do what? You need to do soil testing in your farm. You test your farm, you understand what are the nutrients that are present in my farm and those that are absent, so that even as you work, even as you want to prosper and do farming as a business, you understand to say, I need to do this so that my plants can grow on time. And to those perhaps who do not have access to these machines like soil testing machines, you know, sometimes they may be maybe expensive. You don't have that financial mass for you to test your soil. That's where now ECCT comes in. That's where now this channel comes in, so that we can show you how to identify and just know by looking at the plant. That's why I say the farmer's eye is the best fertilizer. The farmer's eye is the best fertilizer, because you're going to use the knowledge you have. Right now I'm talking to you, I'm sharing knowledge, and this knowledge I'm sharing is going to be embedded in you. You're going to have this knowledge, you assimilate it, and when you go to your farm, you are going to do what? To apply this knowledge. That's why I'm saying, come and let's sit. This is the table with ECCT. Have you seen? We discuss this thing, the things you're going to use when you go back to what? To the farm. So if you go to the farm and see perhaps your plants are not growing, 2 or 3 weeks, your plant is not changing, but it is green. Understand, why are my plants not growing? They are lacking phosphorus. And the last and not the least on the list is what we call potassium. So what is the importance of potassium? So potassium, that is the last element on the NPK chart. So potassium also promotes flower development and overall growth of a flower. So when the plants reach at a level whereby they start flowering, have you seen? If you don't have potassium in your soil, you will discover that perhaps the plants will have the flowers, but these flowers will all fall to the ground. They will just be swept away, and you wonder, why has this happened to me? And to be honest with you, this happened to me this year when I was cultivating, when I was farming soybeans. There was one part of the farm which I discovered to say the plants, they were vegetative, they grew and everything, but I discovered that I lost all the flowers. I lost all the flowers on the soybeans. What happened? So this one I came to discover to say, no, I liked what we call potassium in the soil. So all my plants never had what? This potassium element. I know and I understand that soybeans, it is a legume plant. It has a bit of nitrogen and it provides its own what? It provides its own nutrients, but sometimes it might not be so. And these things might happen. Have you seen? I ended up losing all my flowers. So you have to understand as a farmer to say, this element works in this line, this nutrient works in this line, and this nutrient works in this line, so that you know, we grow together as farmers, so that we stop complaining over unnecessary things. These are things you are supposed to understand. Sometimes you find farmers, they'll buy urea, they'll buy different types of fertilizers, but they will apply them at a long time. Have you seen? They will apply them at a long time. So this is where now we come in. You know, we are not just making this video for the sake of views, for the sake of anything. No, we are here to teach one another. So when you come across this video, you want to move out as you came. You understand, you say, oh, there's what you call an NPK. Okay, there's this and this and this. You understand? And even as you go back to your farm, from this table, you learn and understand to say, okay, my plant looks like this, okay, I need this. My plant looks like this, I need this. That's how you're supposed to move as farmers. So you're talking of potassium right now. Potassium, you apply it to what? Flowering plant. For high quality flowers, for vigorous blooming of flowers, and also for disease resistance when it comes to the flowers. Have you seen, when you've got potassium in your soil, these flowers will be strong to the plant, they'll stick to the plant. Even when the wind blows, you can't lose these flowers because they have got strength in them. There's potassium, they have held properly to the plant. So the lack of potassium in your plant, this is what leads to what we call the formation of malformed flowers. Malformed flowers. That is English. That is English. Malformed. Malformed flowers. So what do I mean when I say your plants will have what we call malformed flowers? Malformed flowers, in other words, I can just say these are flowers that are misshaped. They don't have a good shape when they come out as flowers. And also, I would say they are deformed. They are misproportional. Have you seen? Like they are not in the order that you need them to be. And that's what makes them weak. That's what makes them not to even stick stronger and have that strength of holding the stems of the plant. Have you seen? So you need this element. You need this nutrient, which is potassium, for your plants, for your flowers to do what? To stick to the plants, for you to have a proper harvest, a harvest that we all require as farmers to make profit. Of course, me, I'm doing farming. Yes, I understand. I'm doing farming to help to help people out there, to provide to them, so that everyone in our country and the world at large, we can have food. But at the end of that, what do I need? Because I'm investing money, I'm investing my time, I'm sacrificing, I'm spending my time in the farm. What do I need? I need money. And for me to have that money, all the things I've just mentioned right now, I'm putting in and sacrificing, will come to me in form of a gift, and that gift will be what? Money. So my plants, I need them to grow properly. And when it comes to my plants, I do not joke. I would rather pay you and let my plants grow properly, not you cutting my plants in the field. Have you seen? That is how serious I am when it comes to farming. So even the people I work with, I tell them, when you're working in the field, be careful. I know mistakes are there, and I understand, but let it not be a trend whereby perhaps you are doing weeding, you're just cutting plants. I move around, I find 5, 6, 7 plants are gone. No, have you seen? Because I am paying those people. So that's how it's supposed to work. As you sacrifice, you also hope for a reward, which is what? Which is man at the end of it all. So I'm sure, and I know that you've actually understood, because I've taken my time to explain, and I know you've understood like the NPK part, straight fertilizer, mixed fertilizer. So when you talk of mixed fertilizer, it is made in different proportion and different compositions. So when you go on the market, how do you get to know? How do you know the kind of fertilizer you require as a farmer? How do you know the kind of fertilizer you're going to use even as you start farming? So you're going to notice, and when you go to buy, you're going to see a bag of fertilizer. There are 3 large numbers on them. 3 large numbers on the fertilizer, in front of the fertilizer. Even there's also a 4th one at the far end. So there are 3 large numbers on them that describe and tells you the ratio of the nutrient contents in them. It will tell you, if it's the NPK bag, it will tell you the number of in terms of percentages in nitrogen, which is there, phosphorus, which is there, and also potassium. For example, you are going to see there is 10, 20, 10. 10, 20, 10. These are just these numbers simply tells you the ratio of the nutrients inside these bags. So even as you buy them, for example, if perhaps 20, which is at the middle, it is bigger than the 2 numbers, simply means phosphorus and potassium, nitrogen and potassium, they are at the same level. The nutrients in the bag are the same, but when you talk of phosphorus, which is at the center, it is what? A bit higher than the rest. And according to the way I've explained previously, phosphorus deals with what? Root development, and we are applying to small plants. So simply means we need them to develop the root so that they can grow faster. That's why this element at the middle, which is phosphorus, it is in a high quantity, because we need our plants to grow. We don't need them to be stagnant. Yes, there is what? There's nitrogen in them for what? For growth and that greening effect. Yes, there's what? Potassium for what? A bit of potassium so that they can grow that thing of that element of them bearing fruits, bearing the flowers. Have you seen? They are going to grow with all that. But most importantly, at this stage, since they are still small, they need more what? They need more phosphorus for them to develop roots so that they can grow into the bigger plants you want, for them to develop roots, for them to do what? To be as green as we need them. Have you seen? That's why when we talk of the other fertilizer, which is urea. Urea usually is applied when plants have become big. Why is urea applied when plants are big? It's because urea only contains, it's a straight fertilizer, as I mentioned earlier. It is a straight fertilizer. It contains 1 nutrient in them, which is nitrogen. That green effect I spoke about, it promotes the overall growth of the plant and provides it with what? That green effect, because it contains what? It contains chlorophyll in them. And chlorophyll brings about that greening thing, that greening color of the plant. Have you seen? So we apply this urea fertilizer at a stage when the plants have become big, so that they can have that greening effect, and they grow big and also produce more leaves. For example, when you talk of maize farming, maize, when they are big, perhaps they've got 5 leaves, 7 leaves, you apply urea fertilizer. After applying urea fertilizer, they will develop more. More leaves, and it is from those leaves where we do what? Where we get our cobs from. The cobs from the maize, they develop from what? From the leaves. So in between the leaves, that's where a cob comes from. So we apply urea at this stage, so that even when the plant has more leaves, and we are going to expect what? We are going to expect a yield, because it is from these leaves where our cobs will germinate from. It is from these leaves where the cobs will come from. Have you seen? So let's now focus. Let's now tell. How can you tell that I need this kind of fertilizer at this time? So I've talked of the numbers. The numbers on the bag. What do they mean? NPK. The first one, nitrogen. The second one, phosphorus. The last one, it is what? Potassium. And this is how you tell. So you're going to just see, oh, at what stage is my plant? Okay, at what stage, or what are my plants lacking? From there, you're going to buy according to your requirements. So maybe my plant needs a lot of phosphorus. You are going to buy fertilizer which has a lot of phosphorus in them. If your plants requires nitrogen, you're going to buy plants that requires more nitrogen, just like that. So what about this other number by the far end of the bag? What does that mean? The last number you are seeing right at the far end simply describes the total amount of nutrients present in the bag. The total amount of nutrients present in the bag. For example, like on this picture you're looking at right now, it has 18 at the far end. That simply tells you to say in 1 kg there is 180 grams of what? Of pure NPK. So if you want to determine the amount of pure NPK in the whole bag of a 90 kg bag, you're going to say 180 grams multiplied by 50, which is going to give us what? 9,000 grams. That is 9,000 grams, because a gram or a kg is made by what? Is made by 1,000 grams. So if we say 180 times 50, it will give us 9,000, which simply means in the whole bag of a 50 kg bag, it is made of what? 90,000 grams of pure NPK. This is non-compromised what? Non-compromised pure nutrients, non-compromised nutrients. Have you seen? So these nutrients, they are just about, it is just about 9,000 kg. I mean 9,000 grams, which is, when we divide it by 1,000, it's 9, which is just 9 kg. So this 9 kg, it is the one which is now mixed with other constituents of the fertilizer, because when they are making fertilizer, they also add other constituents like lime. Have you seen lime and other, necessary nutrients? They'll put them there. So these are the ones, the additions now that come up with it, that makes it the bag now to be 50 kg bag. Because lime is also important for soil, to neutralize the soil. So it is also actually one of the vital elements you need. So I think this is all I wanted to share for today. This has been ECCT under Chimasa Farms. I really appreciate you, and I believe and I know that you've learned something from today's video. Please share this video, like and comment on this video. Like this video and comment. Please tell somebody else to watch this video, so that they may learn away from these things of complaining. No, my plants this, my plants that, my plants are not growing. No, my plants, they have lost color. Oh, my plants this. It's because all these things I've shared in this video. Please, you do me a favor by subscribing, following me on all social media platforms, be it Facebook, be it YouTube, be it TikTok, everywhere. It is FARMLIFE ECCT. FARMLIFE ECCT. The farmer's eye is the best fertilizer. The farmer's eye is the best fertilizer. We want to use our knowledge to bring it, to convert it into sight, so that when we see, we can be able to tell, to say, no, this is not right, no, this is right. And from there, we use our eyes to help us so that we run away from, losses just because we don't have the knowledge that we require. I think this marks the end of this video. Do me a favor by subscribing to this channel. Follow us on TikTok, follow us on YouTube, Facebook. We are there at FARMLIFE ECCT. FARMLIFE ECCT. The farmer's eye is the best fertilizer. The farmer's eye is the best fertilizer. Chimasa Farms, life to you. All the products we'll be producing from our farm will give life to you, our customers. Please make sure you subscribe to this channel, like the video, and share so that other people also can watch it. Thank you so much, and I say shalom.